All right, what's up, y'all? My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. This is In The Image Clothing Company's main side. Yes, surrounding sounds, if and where, okay, raw and real. In The Image Clothing Company, we address the human body's natural function. We come at it through the skeletal system because every joint has a neutral, and also the skeletal system is just what the body's about. The fat content changes, the muscle mass changes, but the body's about a position. And as I say, we're just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. It just has to do the only functions that it ever could, being the human body. So this video is going to be on not swallowing air. That's the title, and I'll get into it. We talk about a lot of things: hydration, eating, sleeping, walking, sitting, standing naturally, okay? And there's 4 sides to us. So before we get into it, I'll talk about each of the other 3 sides of our company, and I'll talk about where clothing sits, and then we'll discuss what we do and why I'm holding something in my hand, because I'm going to use this to like aid in my discussion here, okay? So one other fourth of our company is, actually, before I say that, I just didn't quite say it. It's different for me to have something in my hand. Normally I don't have anything in my hands when I make these videos, at least up until now, that's how it's been. There's a center line to the human being, and that's kind of what I'm saying about having things in my hand or not. The sternum, the wind noise, it's not in the center of the body, but the spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw, which naturally stabilizes our entire body, with feet arches opposing the center, gripping inward, keeping us vertical on Earth's gravity. Our clothing has to stay centered because it's placed onto us. So that's why we're called a clothing company. Yes, we will have good clothing made from 100% natural materials, staying centered and fitting correct, where I'll discuss in a minute where clothing has to. But also, that's just how we have to approach the human being, because as I say, the only fix to human beings' physical problems is the only thing physically placed onto them. It's their clothing. So, yeah, okay. Another fourth of us, now I'll get into the other 3 sides of our company, is In The Image Clothing Company Music, okay? And I show how to size and set up guitars to not alter our hands. The hands are essentially the shoulders, as the feet are essentially the hips. The human body can only ever work as a whole. Yikes. Talk about noisy. It's not his fault. The wind, though, as well, is noisy right now. The human body can only ever work as a whole. You can't drag around dead weight. Everything has to play its role. But also, just anywhere anything goes in the body, everything else comes. So, wind noise, man. It is what it is. Mr. Mower Man is just doing his job. Triple M. All right, so I also make music placed on In The Image Clothing Company Music. Now, there's another fourth of us called In The Image Clothing Company Podcast. I get into it. Deep, blunt, bold, raw, and real discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, aka the truth of all things. We're all on the same earth. We all experience wind noise where we do, and potentially airplanes if they fly overhead. So we just discuss things as they are, okay? And we're on episode 118 of In The Image Clothing Company Podcast as of today's date. And then our last fourth that I haven't mentioned here is In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. We specialize in standard purebred poodles. We have our breeding program to come as of today's date under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. Proper AKC registered dogs. We do a lot of advocating for proper breeding, proper ownership of dogs, taking accountability as the owner. Our slogan for that fourth of the company is letting dogs stay natural. Floorings that are slippery and flat are unnatural for dogs, right? Interior floorings, toys, accessories, collars, harnesses, leashes, things placed onto, around, and into mouths of dogs are often made out of synthetic materials nowadays, and that's damaging to the dog. Dehydrated kibble, right? The water's just been extracted from dogs' food. So we do all these things, okay? And events as well, poodle parades where you can bring your purebred poodle of any size or poodle mix of any size to In The Image Clothing Company's poodle parade events. on InTheImageClothingCompany.com is where everything is scheduled and always will be. Okay, all 4 sides of the company come to that website. Now, clothing has to sit in the same location for everybody to not alter the body. It can only ever do what God designed it to, and the pants need to be entirely above the hips. So there's no restriction to the pelvis, and slightly higher in the front than the rear for the waistband angle, so that our core muscles can just stay as they always would be, activated. That's the only reason they're there, okay? The tops that we wear have seams on top of our shoulders that need to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders, because our shoulders only can ever work mechanically behind our head. I say mechanically because it's no opinion, and I know some people think, well, my body's shaped like this, and his and hers and blah, blah, blah. No, it's a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. It's only one way it could ever function. And the edge seams of our shoulders should just be right at the edge of the shoulder where the functionality of the joint is. So we have 2 things we call prerequisites under In The Image Clothing Company. They're conditional because we're not always weaving ropes across the top of our feet. We call them shoelaces when we do that. There's only one way to weave it and not alter the shape of the human foot and all the mechanics and structure inside the feet, traveling then up through the whole body to the tip of the head and the tips of the fingers. That's what we call In The Image Clothing Company's shoelace technique. Found wherever you find us, 5-word name as a whole, In The Image Clothing Company, okay? With that, we tie our shoes evenly over toward the center line of the human being, because there is one, and there you go, okay? Second prerequisite to In The Image Clothing Company is removing all tags from clothing. Anywhere a tag is placed in clothing, it's just causing a physical gap, changing the body's only working position, and or just not allowing musculature to activate. Then you've got the body trying to compensate, and it just cannot happen. So, here we go, okay? Not swallowing air. That's our intro, by the way. That's how packed full they are. That's awesome. When we eat things, when we drink things, often there's air inside those things. The flippin' wind, bro. I'ma scream at it. I'm not even mad about it. It's just I battle so much stuff at this time trying to get these videos out because I'm supposed to be making these videos, and I could make them anywhere, but we make them outside, so it's authentic, raw, and real, and other people can hear me screaming as well, so I'm not inside, like, you know, behind comfort of solitude, right? Anyway, we can't be swallowing air, okay? Our digestive system, where both the liquid that we drink and the food that we eat goes to, it's a biome, and it needs no air within it, okay? Sometimes drinks will come carbonated, okay, and there's gases inside of the liquid that we drink. That's so damaging to the digestive system being just a biome, and then people complain about bloating after they've intentionally purchased something that has been carbonated and has little bubbles inside of it. So the body just needs to have a, you know, properly working system. Everything within the body only does what it does. You have no opinion or say, neither do I, on how the body could ever work. God designed it. Like the episode of In The Image Clothing Company podcast, we didn't design it, so we can't decide it. So when we eat food, a lot of times things like breads and dehydrated things, right, which are unnatural, because that's what'll happen is the water content in things fills up the gap that air has otherwise, right? Bread has a lot of air in it. Cereal, right? Here I have cereal, banana, and strawberry in whole milk. And in there, there's so much air, the little cereal pieces, until the milk seeps into all the little air pockets, and then the air isn't inside the food anymore, okay? So when we eat things, when we drink things, that's one thing that happens a lot. Cereal type food, if you pour cereal into a container and then pour milk into the container and just eat it before the cereal has soaked up the milk, the only way the cereal is able to soak up something is by what I just said. The milk takes the place of the air pockets within the cereal. So it's like what I talk about under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles, when I talk about how it's not an opinion, but you have to rehydrate kibble because it's been unnaturally extracted, the water from it. So that's a lot of what happens in food in modern day because it can be preserved and last longer when the water's not in there to have bacteria be able to live, okay? So, but the whole point is don't swallow air, ever, if you can avoid it. This is the other thing, you know, gas coming out of your bottom, it can't happen unless it's gone into your body, air of some type. Burping can't happen unless air has gone into your body in some way. So that's what I say when I say that under In the Image Clothing Company, we just speak on things as they are, and we talk about undisputed, eternal, never-changing, applies to every human being on the face of the earth truths, right? We don't say everything correct always, because I'm sinful by nature, as we all are, and I'm imperfect, but we do talk about things that apply to everybody on the earth forever, because no matter what, like I just said, you can't even burp and you can't even have gas come out if you haven't had air or of some type go into your body, right? When I say air of some type, just some sort of gas, right? The little bubbles in carbonated drinks or just the pockets of space in dried food. So here's the wind noise again. I'm not mad at the wind. Definitely not mad at the wind. When we eat things, it needs to stay in your mouth for long enough to where your saliva can fully mix with everything in your mouth. No opinion, no type of way to try to eat. This darn wind. I'm not mad at the wind. I don't know what's going on half the time, dude. I just have to push through things so hard sometimes. Like things that people don't see behind the videos before I film them, on what it takes to be able to film these videos, to get this information and truth out to the world. It's really quite the battle a lot of the time. So yeah, anyway, today's the 12th of May 2025. If I didn't say that at the beginning, that's the date. What happens is, as I talk about, right, under In the Image Clothing Company podcast, one of the teens of episodes, I think it's either 16 or 17, because one of them is titled Eating Truths, the other is titled Hydration Truths, and I went over a lot of each of those two things in those episodes. Saliva is the body's first form of digestion. Before we even have food go down our throat, our saliva needs to fully mix with what we eat. It will start to break down carbohydrates and fats, but also it will fill those air pockets in the food that we eat. And then we won't be swallowing air, okay? So then our digestive system can work properly, being just the biome that it is. Now, bloating won't happen if there's no air within the body, unless there's another way that it could, right? But if there's no air there, then that's not going to be causing it. And keeping our core activated, right? Air is just causing a gap. It's causing unnatural workings to happen within the digestive system. The digestive system sits in our abdomen, where our abdominal muscles are, where our core is, and needs to always constantly stay contracted, right? Stretch within clothing goes the opposite direction of the only way that muscles could ever work. There's a video under the main site of In the Image Clothing Company here titled Muscles Only Contract, and they do. So having air in there causing your muscles to be pushed on and elongated, they will never be able to contract natural when there's unnatural things in the digestive system, which is air in this case, okay? So yes, never swallow air. I talk about how ideally, and not just ideally, but that's just how the body works. When we put food into our mouth or drink of any kind into our mouth, it should only fill the interior of our teeth bed, okay? Don't be chewing and having food go into your cheeks like a squirrel, okay? Because our jaw naturally stabilizes our entire body, first off, and the musculature goes all the way up into the top of the head here, well, close to the top of the head, and our jaw needs to be tracking in line, okay, with our body working well because our clothing fits proper, okay, meaning that's the only way that's going to be allowed to happen. But also, you just have an excess amount of food in your mouth and you're going to swallow it before it's fully chewed and with air in it, okay? and then your digestive system's not working, your musculature is deactivating, and your body's damaged to the tip of your head, the tips of your fingers, and the tips of your toes. So there you go, okay? In the Image Clothing Company, we will have dog products available as well as puppies, right? And human being clothing. So same intent as human being clothing, staying centered for the dog and minimal, light, natural material, okay? Yes, good, great. I'm not mad, I'm not upset when I get like, you know, like that. But sometimes I just gotta push through stuff, man. And I don't care if I get perceived as someone who's out here just like yelling at a soccer goal, because that is what the tripod for this video is, and most all the videos under In The Image Clothing Company that are filmed in this field. So yeah, anyway, I just gotta speak a little bold sometimes to get over the noise of the mowers and the wind, and also just to get through people's preconceived ideas and past beliefs that are false, right? We don't believe in anything. There's only truth, as I talk about, and I'm just as human as anyone else. But if we can get down to it and put all the beliefs aside, there's only one way we can eat, right? Because people will try to get rid of hiccups, try to get rid of burping and gas, and those things couldn't even exist if you hadn't swallowed air. But they'll take medications and do silly things to try to make it stop while they continue to drink things full of air or eat things and swallow air with it, okay? So today's the 12th of May, 2025. My name is Evan Strong. I know I'm yelling, I get it. I'm the founder of In The Image Clothing Company in all 4 sides. Thank you, and thank you. Check us out, the other 3 sides of us. Goodbye. Don't swallow air. Check out In The Image Clothing Company poodles. I've been so convicted to just push and push and push In The Image Clothing Company poodles. Standard poodles specifically is what we specify in, and I love them. So thank you. Goodbye.